Good morning, you're watching Chartbusters, the show where we highlight all the buzzing stocks of the day, get you expert advice on how to capitalize and trade on those stocks. I'm Manglam Malu, with me is Nigel D'Souza. Nigel, yesterday, this time around, we were talking about how it's the first couple of hours of a new test match. You need to see the moving ball away. That took place, and the last hour, the batsman came, the Nifty moved off the lows of the day. And this morning, we've started on a rollicking start, almost a century for the Nifty, a triple century for the Sensex.
Absolutely, and you have the dollar index that's working in our favor, right? The cooling down of the dollar index is something that you like quite a lot in terms of emerging markets as well. So that's something that's working for us. In terms of stocks that we're looking at, I think if we can pull up a one-week chart of Ashok Leyland, you'll see that that stock has seen a big rally, from the lows that we saw last week itself. So that's a stock that you should keep on your radar. It's moved high, and we'll make a point with regard to Ashok Leyland and a couple of other ancillary plays in just a bit. For the time being, let's run our viewers through all the top stories at this point of time. Petronet LNG, that's higher in trade on the back of better than expected operational numbers, aided by better volumes. The EBITDA comes in at around 910 crore rupees. That compares with estimates of around 790 crore rupees.
Bandhan Bank, that's the stock in focus of the morning highs, but the bank has complied with the RBI promoter holding norms, and the restriction on remuneration of the MD and CEO too are lifted.
Zee Entertainment is under pressure ahead of the earnings. The street expects the company to report a weak quarter. The revenue is seen lower by over 30%. The profit seeing halving to around 260 crore rupees, while domestic ad revenue is expected to decline by 45%.
All right, so that's about all those stocks which are moving higher. And from the frontline space, now we have Bharti Airtel as well. The last couple of days, it was under a tad bit of pressure, and now it's moved to the high point of the day. So maybe some sort of purchase coming by from the lower levels for Bharti Airtel. Important triggers, of course, will be what happens in the AGR case. And apart from that, we will keep an eye out on the 5G auctions as well. But Nigel, you're spotting a couple of stocks.
Yeah, that's right, Manglam. We are waiting by Vedanta is going to be in focus because the Madras High Court, they're going to be hearing the case with regard to the Tuticorin copper plant. Now, remember, that's been shut for the last 2 years or so. That's pretty important. Now, in terms of what's happened in the past, this plant has been shut for more than 2 years, nearly around 2 years, 6 months approximately. So that's the time period. What this plant used to contribute in the year FY18 was approximately 5% of the total EBITDA. Now, if it comes in Vedanta's favor, it will be positive. Why is that? Because the markets are not factoring in this plant to restart in this year itself. So that's one reason why it will be positive. But the other problem is, if it comes in their favor, Manglam, the promoter could have a bit of a problem. Why is that? Because he's looking to delist, and if this comes in that favor, then people say, hey, there's going to be more EBITDA that's going to be coming up. So maybe, in fact, we deserve a higher price. We'll get that verdict in just a bit. Jude Sanet is tracking this at the Madras High Court, so we'll wait by for that. But besides that, Manglam, I just want to talk about a couple of other names. We were talking about Ashok Leyland. Now, in the last 1 week, that stock has gained big time. So, that's the big return that we've seen Ashok Leyland, currently at around 64 rupees odd. A week or so ago, it was much lower. So, it's up nearly around 25% or thereabouts. With a couple of ancillary plays that have moved quite sharply as well. Jamna Auto, I've written an article on our digital offering, that's CNBC-TV18.com. And out there as well, I've mentioned that Jamna Auto is a direct play on the CV space. Take a look at the returns that you've seen out there. Big returns out there. So that's another company that you should be tracking. Also, automotive axles. That as well is into suspensions and other, factors that contribute to the CV cycle. So both these two stocks, from the day that Ashok Leyland gave positive commentary on the CV cycle, that stock is run up. And if this positive commentary, actually picks up on the ground, then maybe you can keep an eye out on a couple of these stocks as well. Just thought we'll spot these for our viewers.
All right. So those are a handful of CV plays doing rather well in the last couple of weeks. So we'll watch out for that. Just keep an eye out on Kansai and Nerolac. Just moments ago, we had the management joining us here on CNBC TV18 saying that increasingly they've seen demand improve month on month. And moreover, for the decorative side of their business, they've seen, a bit of recovery to pre-COVID levels as well. The biggest trigger for them, of course, would be the recovery in the auto space and the industrial space, because apart from the other players in the industry, they have a higher salience coming in from the industrial and the auto vertical. Decorative business doing rather well for them. Valuations at 32 times in their favor as against something like a Berger, which trades at close to 60 times, and Asian Paints, which is the industry leader, trading around that 55 odd times. Meanwhile, Interglobe Aviation from the broader markets as well is moving higher. Over the last couple of weeks, it's been moving higher. Saw a bit of a pause on Friday. Yesterday did well and currently flying high at the highest point of today's trading session. We have Ramco Cement doing well as well. And just keep an eye out on pizza maker Jubilant FoodWorks, very close to its record high, just about 1% away from its record high, 80% from the lows of March that we've seen. But those were about individual stocks. What should you be doing with your positions on the index? And some more stocks. Rahul Mohinder joins in with a quick technical check. Rahul, your view on the index and individual stocks.
Good morning. I think, first of all, yes, strong opening, but one should pay attention to the fact that over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've always kind of got stuck somewhere between 11,350 to 11,380. So this is a barrier zone. I mean, let's not, jump to the conclusion that, we're going to go out and move into a totally new zone. I think this is a very strong barrier of resistance. We need to wait and watch if we can really get through 11,350, 11,400. This is a strong band of resistance. And I think what also kind of points to a little more resistance is a stock like Reliance. And, that's one of my stock calls. 2160 is a very big barrier, in my opinion, for Reliance Industries. So if you're trying to do a bit of an aggressive play, keep a stop loss above 2160. Sell short on Reliance Industries. 2050 would be my target. Another stock which I have on my sell list is Z. And despite the news that we're awaiting around it, technically very strong barrier at 169. So keep a stop loss above that. We're looking at short-term targets of about 158 on it. On the buy side, I still like Ultratech, and it's clearly because of the last few days where we've seen it range bound. Finally the stock's broken out of a bit of a trading range. So at least 4250 to 4300. That's a reasonable target you could be buying Ultratech for. I'd keep a stop loss of 4,000 when buying Ultratech.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Rahul. Well, disclaimers as well come up for you on the screen. Well, as we slip into a short break, here's a daily series by Money Control Pro's ACE Research team. Ideas for Profit gives readers investment arguments for a company. The comprehensive article covers analysis of the company's financials, business prospects, industry trends, and valuations.